My name is Tendayi Munyebvu, and I'm one of the vice presidents for IStructE, the Institution of Structural Engineers. I work for a consultant, and we do some designs for buildings and other infrastructures in the UK and across the globe. Pan-African partnership is about creating a relationship between the Institution of Structural Engineers and the CEC, the Commonwealth Engineers Council, and to make sure that there is access to information for engineers across Pan-Africa, and also sharing of knowledge between the two institutions and groups of engineers. This partnership will be relevant for all engineers across the globe. Mainly the engineers in Africa will have access to information. I'm talking about guidance. I'm talking about mentors across the globe. But equally, it is also important for the Institution of Structural Engineers in sharing new ways of working. So I know for certain that in Africa, they use quite a lot of local materials. And so in terms of sustainability and the climate crisis, it is very, very important for those in the West to learn from those in Africa as well. This partnership actually is relevant to all parties, really. Particularly access to information to those engineers in Africa. This partnership is going to provide access to a wide range of over 100 free on-demand live events. And also the climate emergency resources will help engineers to design low carbon buildings in Africa. And this partnership will provide access to the structural carbon tool, and also guidance that is available for graduates, for affiliates, for those that are actually in the prime of their careers. My relationship with the Institution of Structural Engineering basically started with my love for mathematics. When I went to university to study engineering, I fell in love with the structural analysis course, as well as the structural design course. So, and soon after graduation, of course, I joined a structural engineering company, and I joined the institution straight on. So it's been a source of inspiration to start with. It's been, we've been aiming to get to being a member of the institution because of the record it has got, and just the preparation to get me to be a member actually helped me to elevate me in my career in some way. So it's actually been pushing me forward as far as trying to grow in this industry. Once I've joined in there today, I'm leading people and I'm leading projects, and I've stopped designing, but actually whenever I'm asked what I do, I kind of default to being a structural engineer because that's the best thing that got me to where I am today. I was fortunate that when I came out of university, I joined an international company, and with that came in the access to information through other means. But not everybody in Africa is fortunate enough to have that access. And what this partnership is doing is providing that access to a wider range of engineers in Africa. So this really partnership is invaluable in providing that information and mentorship across the globe. The challenge usually, I know because I started my career back in Southern Africa, Zimbabwe, Botswana, South Africa, that region. And I know the membership fees we ask for in the West is out of reach for the locals in those areas. The other challenge is the rapid urbanization. We know about that. The growth is immense, but with that also comes opportunities. Because for me, the next couple of 3-4 decades, majority of the workforce in the world is going to be coming out of Africa at the moment. So it's important that we are on the forefront of providing the guidance that we need them to use for design. The opposite of that is, cure, and cure in structures is, almost, demolition of buildings that are already done. In some cases, it's actually collapse of buildings due to this. We talk about the climate emergency. We've seen the flooding happening, we've seen the fires across the world, we've seen drought, especially in Africa as well. And all those things, we have the information that here, and I know for certain Africa is probably the least prepared to respond to those challenges when it comes to existing infrastructure, whether it's buildings, whether it's the emergent services. So it is important that we don't react to it, we act. We do the design safely. At least by doing that, you've answered the majority of the challenges. So it's about prevention rather than cure, really. It is important to be part of a community. When I joined IStructE straight from college. That was my guiding star, essentially, to say my career is going in this direction, and everything I've done is been based on the structural engineering experience as a stepping stone. So it is important that at least join a local institution. The world is playing ground now, so if you want to be moving across to work in other countries, it means that you need to understand the power of networking and community. And for that, I think join the institution of structural engineers. If I had this access when I was, starting my career, indeed my career would have been accelerated a lot. Why I'm saying this is that the company I was working with, I was fortunate enough, as I say, to work on an international company. But what that means is I was only exposed to information that was linked to my discipline, the wide range, climate challenges now, carbon tools and all those things. We did not have access to that kind of information. What we had was, information on concrete design, information on steelwork design, and that was kind of restricted access to some extent, whether it's design, whether it's actually construction, whether it's designing nuclear or normal buildings. That information is accessible at the Institution of Structural Engineers. So this would have made a lot of difference to me. I started nuclear only 15 years into my career because that's when it was exposed to me. So by exposing information earlier to people, then they can make decisions earlier in their careers. My last word is that if you are an engineer, any engineer, by the way, it doesn't have to be structural, but if you are an engineer in Africa, please join a body, your local body. If you cannot join IStructE directly, and be part of this partnership and have access to all this body of information and guidance.